We have watched the mainstream media and the woke sports world do their best to push women's sports on the viewing audience over the past decade, even though it's clear the interest just isn't really there. No matter how hard they push, they can't get people to watch things like the WNBA, to watch female sporting events. There's just not the same fervor, not the same interest level. Well, now, all of a sudden, over the past year or two, the mainstream media, who's pushed so hard for female athletics, is now turning around and advocating for those same sports to be completely and totally destroyed with the inclusion of transgender athletes, to the point now where you have people writing op-eds in the Washington Post claiming to parents that you need to let trans people compete against your biological girls so that they can learn to lose gracefully. I wish I was joking, but that's what these people are actually advocating for. Biological men destroying biological women in sports from a very young age. WAPO op-ed claims trans athletes will help girls learn to lose gracefully. What an absolute joke. An op-ed in the Washington Post has argued that men in women's sports could actually be a good thing for young girls by teaching them the art of losing gracefully. According to Alyssa Rosenberg, the aim of school athletics is not to teach children the art of achieving excellence, but rather to build character. And what better way to bring character in a teenage girl than having her experience the frustration of losing that championship title to a biological male? Her argument largely hinges on the unicorn of sports crazy parents who will theoretically use transgender athletes in women's sports as an excuse in the event their daughter loses. That's not an excuse, that's a reason. If your daughter, who has worked her ass off all through high school, all through college, whatever it may be, her entire life to excel at a certain sport, and then all of a sudden, some freak, some person who has competed as a man for the majority of their career, who has the skeletal structure of a man, the heart of a man, all the muscle that was built from the testosterone of a man, all of a sudden decides they don't identify like that anymore, pretends to be a woman and gets in the pool and beats your daughter that worked her ass off. Yes, you should be pissed. You should be furious at anyone that allowed this to happen because it's disgusting. It really is disgusting, and the fact that so many in the woke sports media are cheering this on is just as disgusting. Why fake? Here's the quote. Why fake an athletic resume or sue the varsity coach when you can simply accuse a girl who bested your daughter of being secretly transgender? Let's be real here. It's often pretty obvious to tell, isn't it? It's pretty obvious to tell. It's not like they're passing very well. According to Deseret News, 2 Utah families whose daughters finished second and third to another girl in an unspecified sport have done just that. Their actions and resulting state investigation should give pause, even to parents concerned about making sure cisgender girls have a chance to compete. Isn't it interesting that we just know it's people in Utah? We don't even know what sport this is in, let alone what grade or anything like that. It sounds to me like it's almost just a bunch of bullshit, isn't it? Chalking student athletics down to basic physical activity and character building, Rosenberg claims that barring transgender in women's sports will ultimately teach children to vilify and hurt their opponents. Though Rosenberg admits transgender athlete Leah Thomas dominated the competition, she agrees with Utah Republican governor declarations that transgender athletes in women's sports are merely a very small number of kids who are looking to find a sense of connection and community. Well, you know what? That's probably how a lot of this starts. That's how this did start about 5 years ago. Now you're seeing them win national championships. Now you're seeing people in, I'm trying to make sure I phrase this right so we can get kicked off YouTube. You're seeing people who now identify as women that have all the skeletal structure, all the genetics of a man who previously was a man and identified as a man before identifying as a woman. Now that person looks like they're poised to join the LPGA Tour. So although it may start as a very small group of individuals, that small group of individuals can have a pretty big impact on sports in general, especially if they end up on the top of the sports landscape, meaning that they beat every other woman in the country, all because they decided they were going to identify as a woman and use she, her pronouns. No, this is not a good thing. It's not okay to teach people that it's all right when someone cheats and you get ripped off. That's what they're trying to teach these women. They're trying to destroy women's sports. They're trying to sacrifice women's sports at the altar of identity politics. After decades of pushing it on people, now they're more than willing to let it go just because this is now the current thing and they must support the current thing. This is disgusting. Let me know what you think about this in the comments below. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel, ring the bell for notifications, share this video out there, and I'll talk to you later.